almost got kidnapped, murdered. This happened quite some time ago when I was in high school. My mom just recently found the paperwork about it when she cleaned out her office upon retiring from the police department. I remember being upset and scared when it happened, but reading the details as an adult, it sounded even worse than I remembered. I was a 17-year-old girl working at a flower and gift shop. It's nighttime. A man comes in. He's short, a bit bigger, balding, 40s, creepy. He tells me about how he needs an apology gift for his girlfriend, so offer a bouquet. Obviously, it's a flower shop. He says he doesn't like flowers because they die. This was the first weird thing, as he came into a flower shop. Then, he goes into detail about how he hit her, and asks me if I think he was right to do so. This was long ago, so I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something along the lines of, "Not if you want her to continue being your girlfriend." He then tells me what a great job I'm doing, and asks when I get off work. I dodge answering, and he leaves. Nothing for 6 months. Then right before Valentine's Day, he walks in the door 1 minute before close. It was dark, and from the outside looked like I was working alone, as my coworker, who is a bit older than me, was in the bathroom. Instinctively, it felt like a predator had just entered the room. You know when something isn't right, and everything felt not right. Then notice he has a tarnished revolver tucked into the front of his windbreaker, which is halfway unzipped. It was obvious he wanted it seen. I quickly scribbled a note to my coworker that said, "He has a gun," and handed it to her when she came out of the bathroom. She calmly walked to the phone and looked at me, wordlessly asking if she should call the cops. I shook my head no, as I felt like it would escalate the situation. God forbid he heard the police coming and took us hostage or something. I was just going to try and act as calm and normal as I could, and hopefully not tip the situation into something more dangerous. He spends 15 minutes wandering around what was a fairly small shop. In retrospect, he was probably waiting to see if my coworker would leave, as it is now well past closing. Finally, he places an order for pickup on Valentine's Day, which gives me his name and info for the police report I'm sure as hell about to file. He buys a card and pulls out a wad of $100 bills, which he slowly thumbs through as if he were looking for the right one to pay for his $40 order. I ask him if he wants a bag, as it wouldn't be very inconspicuous if he showed up at home with the Valentine's card. He replies, "No, I didn't feel like being inconspicuous tonight," which seemed like an obvious reference to the gun hanging out of his coat. He leaves. We quickly lock the door and watch him sit in his truck outside. We were not about to exit the shop until he was gone. Finally, he pulls out of his parking spot and moves to another spot further away and continues to just sit there. I don't know how long we waited, but he finally left. I called my mom crying. She called the police, who came to the shop the next day to take a report. I told my best friend at the time what happened. She told her mother. Her mother happened to work with the man and informed security at her job. She said he was very weird, creepy, and liked to talk about weapons a lot. He works at a large company with government contracts and things having to do with tech and security, and the security at his job pulled him to the office and questioned him about it. He claimed it was a glove in his pocket, not a revolver. The police were pissed that his company made contact with him about it before they did, and he successfully dodged the cops' multiple calls and visits to his apartment. My mom, much to my teen fury at the time, made me quit my job, which was devastating as I loved it there. In retrospect, definitely the right call. Dude came in on Valentine's Day and picked up his order. I never saw him again. My messed up Valentine's Day. When I was in high school, I lived in a really small town in Texas. It was the kind of place where either everyone was related or hated each other. I had no family there, so yeah. But I did have a beautiful blonde girlfriend. It was pretty hated for that too. Nothing major, just petty harassment, occasional fights, but it had been escalating. So, that's why on Valentine's Day, my girlfriend and I decided to skip the school dance and just stay in and watch a movie at her house while our parents went out. Just better to avoid trouble. We borrowed her dad's car, a little Honda hatchback, and went into town. We stopped at a video store for a movie, went to Dairy Queen for some ice cream, and then headed home. Now, she lives in the complete boonies, out in the middle of the woods along a lonely road with no streetlights. We're chatting, eating our blizzards, when all of a sudden, a car comes up behind us. No big deal. What was a very big deal was that when the headlights flooded the interior of our car, I saw two hands on the back seat and a head coming from the hatchback part of the car. As soon as the lights hit, the head and hands retreated back down. A solid chill ran through the entire length of my body. I slowly reached down and pulled out my pocket knife. She saw me and asked what was wrong. Loudly, I said, "Nothing, I just have to stop at a friend's house real quick." She knew that was bullshit. I don't have any friends. I pulled over at the next house that came up and jumped out of the car, yelling at her to jump out too. She jumped out in total confusion. I flipped the driver's seat forward and lunged into the back seat in full maniac mode. He popped up like a jack-in-the-box with empty hands waving. Hey, what are y'all up to tonight?" It was some weird kid from our high school who we had never in our entire life spoken to before. Ever. I said, "What the actual fuck are you doing in our car?" His reply was, "I thought you guys were going to the dance and I was just hitching a ride." We sat there staring at him with our mouths open, wondering what to do. He tried to act real cool, and obviously we're in the middle of nowhere in some random person's driveway, so whatever he was planning was forgotten. We actually ended up driving him to the dance and dropping him off. The whole time he's telling us to come inside with him. Yeah, no. We dropped his ass off and noped out of there as soon as we could. As soon as he got out of the car, my girlfriend started crying and shaking. She was so freaked out. I had no idea what he was trying to do before the lights caught him crawling out of the hatchback. I fucking hated that high school.